Happy Wednesday. Lucy Greer is back with us this morning in the Studio 10 kitchen making one of my all-time favorites. This is a fan favorite.
You were excited about this one.
So
You're right.
excited.
It is a fan favorite, taco soup. So I know it's, nothing groundbreaking. Everybody kind of has their own way to make it, like you said.
Right.
And I love it. And I really don't make it that often.
Really?
Yeah, which I don't know why, because I really like it. And so my father-in-law makes the best taco soup.
Goodness.
And I texted him for his recipe, and so I took it off of that and then added a couple other things, and so I thought it'd just be easy today. Our weather is still kind of nuts.
Right.
We're kind of cold, we're kind of hot, so you know what, I just feel like we're still in soup season.
Let's just do it. Soup season never ends in my house.
Mine either. I'm all about a soup, all about a chili, and again, you can kind of make this any which way.
Right.
But I'm starting with, I just added 1 onion to our 1.5 pounds. I'm using ground chuck, and again, you can be so versatile with something like this. If you are meat free, then you could just saute these onions with the spices, completely omit the meat, make it a meat-free version. I often use ground turkey when I'm making something like this, or a spaghetti sauce or something like that. But today, I just thought I'm just gonna go with our ground chuck. We have the best ground meats in all of our departments because we still use all of our trimmings from the big pieces of meat and make all of our ground beef in-house. So it's always great quality, and you can use sirloin, whatever you'd like. So I just turned this heat on, and we're going to let these onions and the meat start cooking. And you, of course, have a couple options here. I typically, depending on how much fat is in there, may just let it cook all the way through until, all that fat absorbs, or of course, you could drain it. So totally up to you, and I didn't add any oil or anything like that because the fat in this beef is gonna help cook those onions.
Decisions. That's what taco soup, obviously a favorite. You know what? I thought I never put onions in mine though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I stick with the can. Something odd that we do at our house is I put a block of cream cheese in it.
Oh, yum!
I don't know. My husband requested it now. He says it doesn't taste the same. But it's just interesting. I told Lucy, obviously we all make taco soup, most of us, and love it. But it's interesting how everyone does it so differently. And so I'm going to have to add onions to it next time. And some beef stock, too. I usually use a little bit of chicken, but beef is a lot of flavor.
And I was thinking, too, the thickness is kind of something, too, that is, part of the decision process when you're making taco soup. And so I thought, let's just add some beef stock in there so that way you can stretch it, and especially with reheating.
Right.
So yes, we can continue to talk about our options, I guess.
So many options with this taco soup on this Wednesday. We'll be back with Lucy and Joe after we see this.
Welcome back in the kitchen with Lucy from Greer's. Lucy, what are we working on today?
We're working on taco soup today.
Nice.
So Chelsea was pretty pumped about it.
She often talks about taco soup. It is one of her absolute favorites. Allison, our producer, loves it too, and I'm a fan, so everyone wins.
Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
So, and of course, we were just talking about, of course it's versatile. We are starting with 1.5 pounds. I use ground chuck today and an onion, but of course you can do this meat-free or use ground turkey or whatever you'd like to do. So this has been cooking for about 10 minutes, and all of the liquid is absorbed, just the fat and the water coming out of those onions. So now we're going to add in our seasoning. So I'm going to do 1 packet of the ranch seasoning mix, and then also I love to just use, always have spices in my cabinet. You could use a taco seasoning pack if you'd like, or today I'm just using garlic powder, some cumin, and some chili powder, and a little bit of salt.
You made your own taco seasoning.
Made my own, yes. So sometimes it's nice to just use the ones you have. So you could do either way. So I'm just going to let the heat get onto these dried spices and just wake them up a little bit, and then we can start adding all of our other stuff. So do you ever make this in the crock pot or Instapot? How do you do yours?
Katie is usually our crock pot soup person.
Yeah.
I'm usually the grill meat guy.
Yes. I usually, I don't know. I go back and forth between just, letting it simmer on the stove or doing it in the crock pot. Usually if I have to brown something like this, then I rather just leave it on the stove.
Right.
But you could, of course, use your slow cooker or an Instapot for this would be awesome. So now I'm just going to add a few more things, and this is where, you can just use whatever you like. I'm going to go ahead and add our tomatoes first. So I'm using 1 can of, I like to use the petite diced tomatoes. I just like them because they're cut up further.
Right.
And then I'm going to use 2 cans of Rotel tomatoes, whichever kind you like. This is just the original, and you could use the spicy or, whatever you like. And then I'm going to kind of get this mixed up before I start adding everything else.
All right, that sounds like a game plan. What's the latest with Greer's? We're kind of in the middle of spring here.
I know. I was telling Chelsea, I'm like, I feel like soup is always on the table at our house, and the weather's been kind of nuts. So I thought, well, let's just go ahead and make a soup, even though I know we're talking about some warmer temperatures coming.
Yeah.
And you mentioned St. Patrick's Day, which is Thursday, tomorrow. So I did see a few green chilies tossed into there.
It's a couple
and we
green
have
things.
a little bit of green in our Mexicorn that we're going to do. So this could be something you could make for any kind of St. Patrick's Day gathering. We have green cookies and cupcakes out at the bakeries, and any opportunity I feel like to get together and have fun. St. Patrick's Day is just another one of those. So if y'all are out shopping for any kind of get-togethers, we have everything you need.
All right, sounds good. Many Greer's locations all throughout the Gulf Coast. If wherever you live you can find one nearby, go check it out. We'll be back to check out the finished version of this taco soup when we come back in just a bit. It's time to finish the taco soup.
It is time. We started with our ground beef and onions. We cooked that down, and then we added our spices. We added 1 ranch pack, and I mentioned you can add a taco seasoning pack, but we just made our own with some cumin, some chili powder, and some garlic powder, a little bit of salt, and then we added kind of half of our ingredients. So we added 2 cans of Rotel and also a can of regular diced tomatoes, and then added 2 cans of corn. So my father-in-law always uses that white shoe peg corn, which is kind of fun. It's different, it's something that you don't always use. So I added 1 can of that, and then I also added 1 can of the Mexicorn, just the yellow corn with a little bit of peppers in there, red and green peppers. And then you can use whichever beans you like, but I'm using light red kidney, dark red kidney, and black beans. So I drained and rinsed these beans off. I just popped them back in the can. So I like to do that. Otherwise, I find, and so many times I've had the intentions of making taco soup, and then it's just turned to chili, basically. So I just made sure to drain and rinse these off. For me, it just helps it kind of stay more taco soup versus, getting into that chili, which I also love, but I didn't want it to turn that way.
So your father-in-law is Greek. Right.
Yes. So Spiro's dad, my father-in-law, he, was Greek, and he passed away when I was pregnant with the twins, and he was an excellent cook. I was so lucky to get to know him, and he has a barbecue restaurant in Dothan, Pig Out Barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
That Spiro and his sister still run, and so this recipe is my stepfather-in-law, I should say. Spiro's mom's husband Bill he doesn't cook a lot, but taco soup is like his jam, and every time I just love it when he makes it. And he texted me his recipe. I said, hey, will you please send me, I didn't say recipe, will you please send me a picture of your taco soup? And he was like, a picture? And I was like, actually send me a recipe of it in the mail, and then send me a picture of the recipe. So he does good with making this taco soup. So now I just added, and Chelsea was saying, like you said, she is a cooker of taco soup, and she was like, beef stock, and for me it just kind of loosens everything up, and I just added 2 cups. in here, but it's great to have this in the fridge so when you reheat it you can add more, and if you want it, you know, even thinner than this, then you could add more, but I just added 2 cups. And so now all we got to do is just let this simmer for like 30 minutes or as, you know, long as you want, and it is ready.
All right, so here's what we got. So we've got your Greek father-in-law who owns a Southern barbecue restaurant who's contributing recipes for this Mexican taco soup, and tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day. So we are internationally known this morning, covering all of our bases.
We are. That is so funny. And usually, and I forgot about St. Patrick's Day, because usually I'll do cabbage and corned beef. So if you're not in the mood for Mexican, and you can go on Greers.com or the Fox 10 website, and you can find our past holiday appropriate recipes, corned beef and cabbage.
Hey, but this is a great recipe for any season, any time of day. You can find it online. Great job, Lucy, as always. Good to see you. There it is, y'all. Taco soup from Greer's. Go check it out.